Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show on Facebook where we show you one cool thing which we are testing out in the PC Mag labs. I'm Sasha Segan, this is Victoria Song, and we have Social Pete taking your comments, questions, etc., etc., etc. about anything you like in the world of electronics. We welcome them, but today we are showing you a very cool thing that has just come out, which is the Apple Watch Series 3 with LTE, as you can tell from the lovely red dot on the side of Victoria's watch.
Yes, the lovely red dot, which holds no purpose other than to tell other people that you have LTE connectivity.
It's a signifier. It's a signifier because they're not doing the like expensive ceramic one this year, right?
No, there is the expensive ceramic one. So you have a lot of different options. I forget the prices, but the ceramic one I think is like $1,200.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have that money. I'm sure most of us don't have that money to drop on a ceramic watch.
But the red dot at least tells people that you have a little more money than some other people.
Well, an Apple Watch tells people you have a little more money than some other people. That's just the definition of an Apple Watch. It's everyone's favorite luxury, not necessary, but kind of cool type thing. And it's even more so like that now that it has LTE standalone connectivity. Okay,
so before we get to the LTE, and I have a lot of questions about the LTE, but before we get to the LTE, the basic functionality, I have a Series 2 here that I'm going to show the crowd. So this would be an Apple Watch Series 2. Now you're wearing a Series 3.
I am.
What are the basic differences before we get to LTE?
Not much. So besides aesthetically speaking, the only thing that we're really going to see is the red dot. That's different. We happen to have the gold aluminum case here. That's the one we happen to get. It's nice and feminine and goes with my wardrobe, but that's besides the point. But in terms of like sizing and casing, that's really not going to change. It's
what about
two widths of a paper thicker in the back, which is just like, who cares?
How about processor and sensors? Are there more technical capabilities in here?
So the processor is faster, and you can kind of see it when you open third-party apps, especially the load time is marginally shorter. Not to the point where if you're going from a Series 2 to a Series 3, it's not going to blow your mind how much faster it is, but if you are going from a Series 0 or a Series 1, it is noticeably faster and makes the experience a lot better. This also has a barometric altimeter. And in the world of fitness wearables, what does a barometric altimeter mean?
Doesn't that tell how high you are?
Yeah. It tells you how 420 high blaze it you are. No, it tells you your elevation. So how many stairs you're climbing, and just your elevation on runs, all of that sort of stuff. You can now tell with the Apple Watch Series 3.
Okay. So aside from that, now do you have? Hang on. This is. I think this is this the Siri watch face here?
This is the Siri watch face here. So another thing that's different with the, well, not different per se, but what launched with the Series 3 is watchOS 4.
Okay.
So, watchOS 4 improves on a lot of things, but it also kind of adds a fitness aspect to it, but I'll get to that in a bit. It adds some new watch faces. So the one that I think is really kind of different is the Siri watch face. So this whole thing is meant to make your life easier with AI, supposedly. It was interesting in practice. If you look at it, you'll just see the time and a Siri complication up in the upper right, and you can just tap that and have Siri just do stuff for you. Siri, what's my next appointment?
And then she kind of stalls out.
This is actually, I have not had this happen to me before with her. She usually just pops up my calendar and whatnot. But the other things that you can do is it'll pop up what's coming up next for you. In my case, it's very strange. but it has like this photo card thing, and it always shows me a picture of my roommate, and my roommate was very creeped out by that because she's like, why am I on your watch all the time?
And that, by the way, is why we are not holding up the watch more closely to the camera, because it has some of Victoria's personal information on it.
Yeah.
And apparently incessantly shows pictures of her roommate.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird, and she's just like, that's creepy, that's not cool.
We're going to hold off a bit before taking questions, because I want to ask a couple of more things that I think may answer some of your hot questions before we get there. And that is about LTE.
Sure.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about problems with LTE and Wi-Fi connectivity on this watch. Specifically, some people have said the LTE signal is weak. Some people have said that there's trouble where it connects to Wi-Fi networks and then stalls out because it can't get past the portal pages or something. What have you found?
So I found in my daily usage, and I've been using it for about a week now, that I really didn't have too much connectivity troubles with Wi-Fi. And every time I made a call, it went through.
Okay.
My calls never dropped. I didn't do maybe like hour-and-a-half long calls because firstly, you can't. The battery life just can't support that much LTE usage.
And now in terms of battery life, it's still the same, like roughly 18 hours without LTE, but like an hour of talk time?
So if you're not using LTE, you can get about 2 days worth of battery life.
Okay,
I did not charge this yesterday. I wore it all day yesterday. I did not charge it last night, and I am at 40% battery.
Okay.
So that's not bad as far as smart watches go. It's not anywhere near the Fitbit Ionic, which is the hybrid smartwatch / fitness tracker. That I got about a week of battery life on, and that is just like the superlative top that I've ever tested. This it's all right, but I will say I went on a 1 mile run, which is short, but it had GPS. It was an outdoor run, and then I also had my roommate come with me because it was at night and I wanted to test the LTE, and we had a 20-minute long phone call. So this, in total with GPS and LTE usage, was about 30 to 35 minutes, and it ate 25% of my battery in that time. So you're just not going to be able to be a heavy power user. You're maybe going to get an hour usage at most, and that's kind of a bummer. And
answering two other FAQs before we get to the actual questions, I just want to point out price $399, right? It will require a $10 a month additional service plan from your carrier if you want the LTE facet to it.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
It's pretty easy to set up. I have T-Mobile. All I had to do was enter in the last 4 digits of the security number of the primary account holder. It has my cell phone plan, and then it just went, it was done.
Okay, great. Any other questions out there?
If someone's just using it for Apple Music, no calls or anything like that, how long do you think the battery would last?
That is something I really can't answer at this moment because Apple Music streaming has not been released yet. You can't actually do it. I was not able to test that. But I can't imagine that it's going to last all day. If you're going for a run, and unless you're a crazy person and running for more than an hour, you should be okay. But as always, preload your music.
Yeah, but also once more, like, are you streaming over LTE or are you streaming from your phone? Because if you're streaming over LTE, that's going to be the same battery drain as that phone call you were making, which means, you know, an hour.
So the whole point of having a standalone watch is that you don't have to take your phone, especially when you're exercising. Because who wants to, like, take your crusty armband and just be, like, running like this? And then I don't do that, and I run with just my phone, and I have thrown my phone accidentally in the park and, you know, had a heart attack about whether I cracked the screen. I have not, thankfully. But, you know, a lot of runners I know would appreciate having a standalone watch for that purpose, but whether or not you want to shell out $400 for that is a really great question you should ask yourself, especially since you can load music onto your watch.
Right, and that would be significantly less battery drain.
Yeah.
It would probably be Bluetoothing it to your AirPods, which I feel like AirPods are almost a mandatory accessory with this thing.
Yeah, so that's another thing that you need to keep in mind when you're making phone calls. They are loud. The call quality is actually really great. Whenever I made a call to friends or family, they didn't know I was calling from the watch. And that's even when I was outside or anything like that. So, you know, the call quality actually is pretty good, but everyone can hear what you're saying if you're not, you know, with the headphones in.
Right.
I did feel pretty cool just being like, What's up, guys? Calling from my watch.
Let's take another question.
Does it make sense to upgrade from the Series 2? And we had another question that was basically, if you don't want the LTE at all, is there any point?
If you don't want the LTE at all and you have a Series 2, I would say stay put. I have used a Series 2, the Nike Plus Series 2, and really you're just not going to get that much extra, especially if you don't care about LTE. LTE is for the people who cannot be away from their notifications, even for a walk around the block with their dog.
But there's also a non-LTE Series 3, right?
Yes, there is, and that is $329. I would say if you're on a Series 0 or a Series 1, it's worth upgrading. But
or if you have no series at all.
If you have no series at all, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, sad times. If you're a patient person, and you don't mind like hitting on the app and just waiting for it to load, you can get a discounted Series 1 for $250. That's not a bad value.
But it's slow.
But it is slow.
Yeah.
So if you don't care about LTE and you really want the smartwatch, I would go for the non-LTE version.
And I would like to point out that still, this watch, even the LTE version, this was something that disappointed me a little, even the LTE version still requires that you own an iPhone 6 or greater.
Yes.
It does not work without a phone. It does not work with any other kind of phone. You have to own an iPhone 6 or greater to be able to set up the watch.
Yeah, Android users are totally out of luck. Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of smartwatches that with standalone capability that I can recommend to Android users. I've tested the LG Watch Sport, and that was so like. This is a really nice form factor for a standalone watch. I really can't emphasize that enough. It's relatively slim. The bands are modular. You can dress it up or dress it down however you like. The LG Watch Sport, you could not take the bands off. It was gigantic. I put it on the smallest setting. I don't even have the smallest wrist I know, and it was just going, I could kill people with it on my wrist.
You've been hitting people with your wrist. You've been throwing phones. You're a danger out there, Victoria.
I am. It's what we call stress testing. So
Yeah.
Can it survive the calamity that is me?
If I see you in the park, I'm gonna maintain my distance.
Oh man, no. Sometimes I look really crazy because I was testing this AI wearable fitness trainer, and you have to talk to it. So I was like, "What's my heart rate?" And it couldn't. And people just looked at me really weird.
Let's take another question.
Can you just explain how it works with the data plan? Like, do you need a separate data plan? Is it just a supplement?
You don't need a separate data plan. It is added onto your current plan. Each carrier is slightly different. I think all of them except for Sprint are going to waive the extra SIM card activation fee. Some of them have 3 months free trial. You just really have to check with your individual carrier, but it's basically $10 a month for just to add the watch onto your existing plan.
Right. And the watch uses a negligible amount of data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're really probably not going to be using LTE all that much unless you're leaving your phone behind. And in regular usage, when I wasn't making a concerted effort to like text people from the phone, or text people from the watch, or just make a phone call, it didn't really run down the battery that much, which is another reason why I say it's not a compelling case to get the LTE version unless you're someone who really cannot be without their notifications every moment of every single day.
But one cool thing I'd like to point out, because this is one cool thing, I'd like to point out about the LTE in this watch is that it's an embedded universal SIM, and the watch is unlocked. So basically, any watch can work with any carrier, and if you switch carriers on your phone and you factory reset the watch, you can switch carriers on the watch too. And that's very cool. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah, that is cool, and it's something that a lot of standalone smartwatches have trouble with because they're not always available for each carrier, and then a carrier can say that they're going to carry the watch and then decide not to. So in this way, you don't really have to worry, especially if you want to switch your cell phone plan, and it's actually pretty good at fitness tracking as well. I will say it is a smartwatch first.
Is it better at fitness tracking than the Series 2, though?
Well, watchOS makes it slightly better. So watchOS 4, makes it slightly better. So what you have is extended, or not extended per se, but expanded heart rate measuring. So you can see the current heart rate, your resting heart rate, which is something that the Apple Watch...
Can I hold it up to the camera? Cool.
You can see resting heart rate. You can see something called recovery heart rate. It's not continuous because that would take a lot of battery life. So if you're not wearing it to sleep, you're going to get a different heart rate, resting heart rate measurement than you would with a fitness tracker that you wear continuously. But it is an improvement. And also, if you are a gym rat, they have revamped the workout app so that you can just seamlessly add a new workout. You don't have to separately record every single exercise, which is what I do for testing anyway, just to make sure the numbers are good. But if you're not testing for whatever reason, you can just do it a lot easier. It does swim tracking now.
I had another cool screen up there that I wanted to hold up. This is the app cloud, which all Apple Watches have had, but really cool to look at.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is. Oh, we have another question before I get to my question.
Would you want FaceTime on the Apple Watch in the future?
Hell no. I say that just because after wearing it for a while, you realize all the sensitive moments of your life that you don't want people to see from your watch face, like messages that you're getting. You don't want people to read messages necessarily on your watch face. You don't want to be, I don't know, in the shower and then mom FaceTimes you. Then what are you gonna do with that? That's just gonna be awkward. That's just, you don't need to take. And also, what's that battery life gonna be? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
A second?
Yeah, there's not nearly enough battery in here for video chatting. I think that's the real problem.
Yeah, it's just not gonna, oh my God, I got crazy texts from friends. So, like, I'm on camera, I don't want people to know that I'm texting my friend about Solange tickets. Like, people don't need to know that.
So now Apple, there are two smartphone companies that own about, 80% of the postpaid market here in the US, and they are Apple and Samsung. And Samsung has its own watch line that's supposed to work really well with Samsung phones. And it has fitness tracking, and it has messages, and it is not Android Wear. And so is Samsung keeping up, or is Apple way ahead of them right now?
So it's hard because those are both platform-dependent smartwatches. But I did see some of what Samsung's planning to bring out at IFA. And so the new generations of smartwatches, they all share certain things in common. They are all trying to go a more fitness route, more medical usage with the Fitbit Ionic. They added in these red LEDs so it could work as a pulse oximeter. And Apple is also saying that we have the Apple Heart Study. What the Gear Sport was trying to do was be like, wear the swimming watch. It's cool. I don't necessarily think it's the same level of recognition because the Apple Watch is kind of, everybody knows about the Apple Watch. It's iconic. What are you going to do? The form factor, the Gears have always been a little more watchy looking. This has been a little more, I don't know. It's a status. It's a status thing. I was just in San Francisco. Everybody had an Apple Watch. It's just like a status signifier.
So in terms of an Apple Watch recommendation, now we're not saying to anyone that you need an Apple Watch.
No one needs an Apple Watch.
Nobody needs an Apple Watch.
Nobody needs an Apple Watch.
But if you want an Apple Watch, which Apple Watch? Which watch?
Really, the question is, how much do you care about your notifications? Because if you don't care that much, save the extra money and get either keep your Series 2, get the GPS-only version, which is $329. But if you really, really don't care about where that extra money is going, sure, fine, go for it.
I would say nobody. I would say, just thinking of all of you and your lives and your mental health, no one should care about their notifications that much. If you cannot go for a jog for 20 minutes without your notifications, you need to really reconsider your life priorities and make some space in your world for yourself.
I will say that I get phantom buzzing syndrome now because I test wearables all the time. I'm just, even when I don't have a wearable on, which is not true right now, I still have a wearable on.
Oh man!
I just constantly think something's buzzed, and I'm like, oh, even when I'm wearing the watch, I'm just like, oh, it buzzed. I must have gotten a notification. No, there's no notification. So really, just make time to
See, don't
Disconnect. Don't be me.
become like Victoria. Okay.
Don't wake up in the middle of the night and go like this, which is what I did this morning.
She is your cautionary tale. She is your cautionary tale, and she is why we recommend the non-LTE 329 Apple Watch Series 3.
For most people, if you really want to watch, that is the one that makes most sense and is kind of seamless with your life. You always need your phone for more complicated things anyway. So like you can send text messages from here. Siri can dictate. You're going to have the odd typo. She just can't get everything right. But it's just so much easier to text from your phone.
Yeah.
It just is.
It can wait 15 minutes. We'll take some questions.
One last one. Is there any integration with Apple TV?
You know, I didn't test it with my Apple TV, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of Siri-related way to do things. Apple products are really great at just working together, which is how they get you. Once you're in the ecosystem, you're just like, oh, crap, I'm stuck. So that's the story of my life. Oh, crap, I'm stuck.
Okay, any more questions out there? On that cheerful note, thank you all for watching. Hey.
I see what you did there.
I gotta hold it up. Let me see if I can get us. Yep. So thank you all for watching One Cool Thing today with the Apple Watch Series 3 with and without LTE. We will be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow with another very cool thing from the PC Mag Labs.